Have you ever wondered how different our world would be if World War II had never occurred? It's a question that's impossible to navigate without considering the sheer scale of the conflict. A conflagration that engulfed the globe, involving dozens of nations and resulting in the loss of millions of lives. These are facts that dramatically underscore the impact of World War II on our shared history. This video will take you through a chronological journey of World War II, its causes, major events, and repercussions. The seeds of World War II were sown long before the first shot was fired. The post-World War I landscape was a fertile ground for the growth of these seeds, with the Treaty of Versailles serving as the primary catalyst. This peace agreement, signed in 1919, was intended to ensure a lasting peace by punishing Germany and setting reparations that they were to pay. Yet, instead of fostering peace, the Treaty of Versailles sowed resentment and anger. Its harsh terms, particularly the War Guilt Clause, which placed the full responsibility of the war on Germany, along with the heavy economic reparations, created a breeding ground for resentment among the German people. This resentment was further amplified by the global economic depression of the 1930s, which hit Germany hard. In this climate of economic turmoil and national humiliation, one man saw an opportunity to rise to power. Adolf Hitler, a charismatic speaker, tapped into the collective anger and disillusionment of the German people. Promising to restore Germany's honor and economic stability, Hitler and his National Socialist German Workers' Party, commonly known as the Nazi Party, began their rise to power. Hitler's leadership marked a shift in Germany's political and social landscape. He propagated a doctrine of racial superiority, blaming Jews for Germany's economic and social woes. His aggressive foreign policy and blatant disregard for the constraints of the Treaty of Versailles were met with initial appeasement from the international community. However, Hitler's invasion of Poland in September 1939 was a step too far. Britain and France declared war on Germany, marking the start of World War II. The seeds planted by the Treaty of Versailles, the economic depression, and the rise of Hitler and the Nazi Party had sprouted into a full-blown war. The world, still reeling from the horrors of the First World War, was once again thrown into a conflict of unprecedented scale and devastation. By 1939, the world was on the brink of its deadliest conflict. In September 1939, the world plunged into a darkness that would last for 6 long years. The tranquility of a late summer morning was shattered as German tanks rolled into Poland, marking the start of World War II. This unprovoked act of aggression was a blatant violation of Poland's sovereignty and a clear declaration of war. The world watched in horror as Poland, outmatched and outgunned, faced the full might of the German war machine. Cities crumbled under the relentless onslaught, and the Polish skies were darkened by the ominous shadows of German bombers. Yet this invasion was not met with silence. Britain and France, committed to upholding the sanctity of nations, issued an ultimatum to Germany: withdraw from Poland or face a state of war. Germany, under the delusion of invincibility, ignored this warning. Consequently, Britain and France declared war on Germany, marking the beginning of a global conflict that would engulf nations far and wide. The war soon expanded beyond the borders of Europe. The Axis powers, composed primarily of Germany, Italy, and Japan, sought to impose their will upon the world. They waged war with a ruthless efficiency, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. Their adversaries, the Allied powers, including Britain, France, the United States, and later the Soviet Union, were steadfast in their resolve to resist this tide of tyranny. Each side, armed to the teeth and driven by divergent ideologies, was locked in a deadly struggle for supremacy. The Axis powers, with their rapid expansion, seemed unstoppable. But the Allies, undeterred, were determined to fight for freedom and justice, to push back against the encroaching darkness. The world was now fully engaged in a war unlike any other. Nations were torn apart, families were separated, and millions of lives were irrevocably changed. This was not just a war of soldiers and machines, it was a war of ideologies, a clash between the forces of freedom and fascism, democracy and dictatorship. The flames of war had now spread across continents, setting the stage for some of the darkest chapters in human history. As the world braced itself for what was to come, there was a grim understanding that the road to peace would be long, arduous, and bathed in blood. Every war has its turning points, moments that change the course of history. In the grim theater of World War II, Several such moments stand out as decisive game changers. Let's first turn our gaze towards the bitterly cold winter of 1942 in Stalingrad. The city's name was etched into history books as the site of one of the bloodiest battles ever fought. The Battle of Stalingrad was a brutal, months-long confrontation between the Axis and Soviet forces. The Soviets' tenacious defense and eventual victory dealt a crippling blow to the German army, shattering its aura of invincibility. It was a pivotal moment that shifted the momentum in favor of the Allies on the Eastern Front. But let's rewind a bit. A year before Stalingrad, a sunny Sunday morning in Pearl Harbor, Hawaii, was shattered by the deafening roar of bombs. The surprise Japanese attack on December 7, 1941, led the United States to abandon its policy of isolationism. The entry of this industrial and military behemoth into the war drastically altered the balance of power. Fast forward to June 6, 1944, a day known as D-Day. The Normandy invasion was the largest amphibious assault in history. Thousands of Allied troops stormed the beaches of France, marking the beginning of a fierce campaign to liberate Western Europe from Nazi control. This successful operation opened a new front against Germany, stretching their resources thin and hastening the end of the war. It's important to remember, however, that while these events were crucial, they were not isolated incidents. They were part of a larger, interconnected web of actions and reactions, decisions and indecisions, courage and fear. The turning points of World War II were not just moments of military strategy, but of human resilience and resolve. These decisive moments marked the beginning of the end for the Axis powers. Each turning point, each decision, each victory or defeat brought the world one step closer to the end of a dark chapter in human history. In 1945, the world emerged from the shadow of World War II, forever changed. The once roaring cannons fell silent, and the final echo of bombs dissipated into the annals of history, marking the end of the deadliest conflict mankind had ever witnessed. Germany, the instigator of this cataclysm, surrendered unconditionally on May 8th, laying down arms and ceasing all hostilities. The surrender of Japan followed suit on September 2nd, effectively putting the last nail in the coffin of World War II. But the cessation of battle did not bring immediate peace. It unveiled a grim reality that the world was unprepared to face. 6 years of relentless warfare had claimed an estimated 75 million lives. The scale of this loss is hard to comprehend, as if every single resident of the United Kingdom today vanished in the blink of an eye. Among the darkest chapters of this period was the Holocaust, a systematic genocide that extinguished 6 million Jewish lives. The world recoiled at the discovery of concentration camps and the depths of human cruelty they represented. Yet, from the ashes of this devastation, a flicker of hope emerged. The nations, united by shared trauma and common purpose, established the United Nations in October 1945. This international organization was born out of the collective resolve to prevent such a catastrophe from ever recurring. The aftermath of World War II also significantly reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Power dynamics shifted, old empires crumbled, and two superpowers, the United States and the Soviet Union, rose to prominence. This new polarity set the stage for the Cold War, casting a long shadow over the remainder of the 20th century. World War II was not merely a chapter in our history books. It was a transformative event that redefined the course of human civilization. Its echoes reverberate through time, influencing our present and shaping our future. World War II shaped our world in ways that are still visible today. The echoes of World War II are still heard today, shaping our understanding of conflict, power, and human resilience. A war that began with unthinkable questions of power and ambition sowed its seeds deep into the fabric of our world, forever altering the course of history. A global cataclysm, World War II unleashed a storm of violence and destruction, a maelstrom of human suffering from which no corner of the globe was spared. The war's turning points were marked by monumental battles: Stalingrad, El Alamein, and Normandy. These decisive moments tipped the scales of power, leading to the eventual defeat of the Axis powers. Yet victory came at an inconceivable cost, leaving a world in ruins and a generation scarred by the horrors of war. The aftermath of World War II was as profound as the conflict itself, shaping our modern world. It gave rise to new superpowers, sparked the Cold War, and led to the creation of the United Nations, aiming to ensure such a catastrophe would never occur again. Remembering World War II is not just about understanding history, but also about learning from our past to build a better future. It's about acknowledging the depths of human cruelty, yet also recognizing the heights of human courage and resilience. In the echoes of that past, we find the wisdom to navigate our present and shape a more peaceful, inclusive future.